Welcome, everybody. And I'd like to give you a big welcome to our new webinar series focused on the Glocalisers, which is how we refer to our new roster of Gaia Education Certified Trainers. Gaia Education Certified Trainers are people who have gone through a learning journey and taking different aspects of our trainings to become certified trainers and become available for teaching and running courses around the world, in fact. I'd like to point out that you can also become a certified trainer by following our learning journey. You can go to our website. I posted on the chat box a couple of links that'll get you there. I believe you are able to see those in this recording. But anyway, you can also become a Gaia Education certified learner, a certified trainer, and join us in our programs. While we are here, I'd like to introduce you to some of our publications. You may have already seen these if you go to GaiaEducation.org and you go to the books section. There is a free curriculum download that you can download in several languages. I think it's translated into 6 or 7 languages. So you can use the curriculum for any courses that you might be running in your area. There you can also purchase this activity guide for youth training when you're working with youth in your region. And you can also purchase the teacher's manual. Those are just 3 of our publications. There's a lot more there that you can look through, but please go to Gaia Education publication, the books link on our website to see these. The other thing I want to share with you is that we have other online courses. We have a 10-month certificate course on designing for sustainability, where you can become a designer yourself. Or you can also take just one part of that course. It's divided into 4 dimensions: the social, ecological, economic, and worldview. So you can take one of the dimensions or take the full course, including a design studio. I invite you to take a look at that. It's in English, in Spanish, and in Portuguese, so you can follow it in different languages. Well, the purpose we are here really is to introduce you to Sascha Jenke, who is one of our recent certified trainers, Glocalizer. And Sascha is going to give a presentation today on numbers and the economy. This is a way for us to feature some of our new trainers and to feature some aspect of the curriculum that is not necessarily inside the curriculum, but experts like Sascha have this, this niche of knowledge about economy and about all the other dimensions. So without taking up more time, I'd like to introduce you all to Sascha Jenke. Hello, Sascha.
Hello, Joe. Thank you very much for the warm welcome and for all support to make this possible. And thank you for Gaia that I have the opportunity to talk here about the numbers and economy in this webinar. I find it quite ambitious task. It's complex and realistically I can only give you a glimpse on the topic within the given time. It will be intense, but I will do my best to make it understandable for you. Another few words before we start. I want to remind you that's about an holistic approach. So remember that, please. We want to get a deeper understanding of the whole play of life while we talk about economy, because this is what can make a significant change. And I want to ask you to carefully listen and listen more from your heart, because if you only try to understand with your head, you will not really get to the point of this. So let your intuition support you. So this is about numbers and economy, but it's not about statistics or counting or calculating. The approach comes from Karan Kriya, which is an applied numerology. So numbers are everywhere around us. That's what is the starting point. You have one nose, one spine, 2 legs, there are triangles, we have 4 seasons, and so on. There are 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 days a week, many more things we connect to numbers. And this is all not for case, because numbers tell us something about life, and life tells us something about numbers. That's our learning process, and that's how we apply numbers here. In the content of the webinar, first I will explain you some basic properties of the numbers and how they interrelate. And then I will apply them to the path of a soul. And then I will show you what they reveal about economy, business, abundance, money, in these terms we use. So let's start. First, I take my camera off, and then I let you see the presentation. All right, I hope you can see it. It's numbers and economy as you have never seen that before, because there is a magic in numbers. And the teacher of this Karam Kriya, Shiv Sharan, says, study life through numbers and study numbers through life. I said it already. It gives us hints, but gives us more clarity. That's why we use it. So first, we have 9 numbers in total, 1 to 9. And mostly it's written like this on your computer or phone. Only the difference 1, 2, 3 will be on the top, 7, 8, 9 will be down. But in fact, 7, 8, 9 are higher numbers, so we put them on the top. So what is interesting about the numbers, imagine an axis, or I show you an axis from the 1 to the 9, which goes through the 5. And there are more of these axes, like from the 2 to the 8, from the 3 to the 7, from the 4 to the 6. And the magic thing is, every axis, the sum of the 2 endpoints is 10. 1 plus 9 is 10, 2 plus 8 is 10, and so on. So 10 stands for the totality, and so we can write the 10 like the big 0, the big circle of the totality, and the 1 is the outstanding quality of this number 10. So as we talk about numbers in pairs also, like the pairs 1, 9, 2, 8, and so on, we can write it in a different diagram. We have the numbers in pairs 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7, 4, 6 in these 4 quadrants, and in the middle we have the 5 and the 10. It's just another way of writing the same phenomenon that we have seen before. Another magic thing is if you go 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, that's 10. So normally if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you come to the 5, which is in the middle, it's the center. But if you go 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 10, you come to the totality, the whole of everything. And but that means you have to fully take all these steps. This is explained again because we said we have these couples of numbers. So if you look at the scheme, below you have 1, 2, 3, 4, going to the 5, but we said there are axes, the 1 and 9 are connected. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 8, 7, and 6 will also happen at the same time. It might look complicated or even trivial, but these are very simple things, and we forget things like starting from the beginning. How often don't we start from the beginning? Last scheme that I want to show you is the numbers. If you put them on the top of each other, then you have, of course, lower and higher numbers more clearly. So the 5 is again in the middle, and the lower numbers we call personal, and the others we call impersonal. Numbers appear in life, and we have 5 elements in many traditions: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which are connected to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look at a plant, you have a seed which you put in the earth. This plant gets roots to get water, to get energy, to grow. And the fire of the sun, will cause it to grow into a third dimension. The stem, the branches, and the leaves will appear. The air element is connected to the bud and the flower. It's opening up. It's opening up to life, you can say. And the last one, the ether element, is connected with the fruit. So the ether is all pervading, and the fruit has a new level of a new generation of this plant inside. We have another level of consciousness. You can say basic is mineral, first level. There are also bacteria, which is a very kind of primitive form of life. Second is plant, third is animal, fourth is human, and the fifth we would call the consciousness. So being consciously conscious of being a consciousness. It sounds complicated, but we don't need it more. We also have 5 senses. The first is smell, taste, sight, touch, and sound. And there are many more things in life that appear in these groups of 4 and 5, like fingers. Yeah, you have 4 fingers and the thumb. This is also how numbers and life appear together. Next, we want to talk about this path of a soul. And we use the 4 quadrants. So we have these numbers, pairs of numbers in the quadrants. We have path of a soul means, okay, there's the soul, the beginning of an existence, and the soul goes somehow to its destiny, but it goes through time and space. And the thing is that we are entangled and we get lost in time and space somehow. But this is our experience of life as a human being. We can look at it now from this grid of 9 in a more detailed way about this path of a soul. First, I put in some words that I used before. You had number 1, earth, seed, mineral, bacteria. You said it's like before life, minerals is not a living thing. Water, root, plant, time, energy, nature. It's also part of the number 2. The 3 was fire, the stem, the branches, leaf, the animal level, and it's the space, the 3-dimensional space. So the 4th was the air, but the human level. And I also introduced you already the number 9, which is 1 is before life, so 9 is something beyond life. Okay. First, we have an humble origin of each individual. That's the one, low, small. And when this steps into life, immediately there comes a duality, a separation, feeling of hunger, a longing, attachment comes. But there's only seemingly a separation. There's still this one existence in the connection, in the unity. This individual develops personality, there's enchantment, joy of life, and it becomes active, the joy of action. In the 4th level, that means this awakening, the flower goes open. This is the awakening back to the number 1, to the soul, and that allows you to be in the moment, to choose to become really conscious. And that stages of the higher levels, transformation is happening here, a learning process through language and experience. And in the 6th level, that means you stay awake. There's vigilance and you use your intuition and responsiveness. And the 7th level is the understanding. You go beyond this, you go to a more abstract view, allows you to look on everything with forgiveness. And then we come to the level of life and death. You are what happened. about healing, dying into deathlessness, which means something like becoming a part of the totality. This to become one with the oneness, that's the deathlessness that we talk about here. And the ninth stage is kind of coming back home to the true essence, to your true home of your soul. And this is connected to qualities like peace and rest. And the 10th level, you have to look up left, right on the top. Then the soul is kind of self-illuminating. It reaches the totality. So the thing is, in planning and designing contexts, we use different words, but these words are often kind of corrupted. We forgot the true meaning of the words. And I will put now these words into the same diagram. First is ecology, as in the sense of a beginning. The word comes from oikos logos, which means oikos is the home, it's the house, and logos is the teaching of or God's will about the house. And we use it here at the micro level. Yeah, it's about our home, our planet Earth, as our first given gift. And second comes the economy. And the economy comes from oikos nomos, again, the home. And nomos is about managing the home, about managing in the sense of keeping everything in a flow, like the water. You keep everything in the flow, all the resources that you have given from the number one. And the third level is the physical, where all take place. These are three crucial steps, and I have here also these two bows connecting them, because already in the second, we tend to lose the connection with this first level, with the first level of ecology. And we have to remind that, and this is then the fourth opening level of social. And this means there's an opening towards consciousness you make, and this gives you an awareness about this number one again, about your true self also, and it opens already to the me and we. Yeah, there is something beyond only yourself. And the fifth level, this is again the this to the high levels, and this allows you to balance, to stay in health through transforming, through learning and experience. In the next level, that's the place where you're staying open, and you are open, and that we call also social, but it's the open state of this. And all this middle grade of 9, that's represent very human qualities. The sixth level, this is the level where you can open up to community. So this is beyond your own limits. And community can be really pressure, no? There can be conflicts. But we can go beyond that even to a mental space, which is, the elevated understanding. So you have to make your thoughts transparent in this stage. And the eighth level is about life and death. It's we physically we don't live forever, but our souls are eternal. And if we understand that, that gives us a sense of discernment, of wisdom, but also certain path beyond. It gives us also compassion. And the ninth level is this level beyond the life, our true home. It is a level which allows us to be very subtle, and then that allows us to be spiritual and to connect to peace. And all this together, the 10th level, this totality, is the total ecology, and it's understanding that what's the meaning is. Okay, all this taken now. What does it about economics? Why we are here? How does this apply to economy? Since Adam Smith's economy emphasizes most of all the self-interest and of the economy and neglects other motivations. But I remind you, we want to talk about a holistic approach, and that means we have to include all levels that we have here. An alternative view on that could be is that we say all these 9 or even 10 fields, realms, they have a certain value. They mean for us a certain capital that we can invest. Is material capital on the bottom of each quadrant appearing the words material capital. Yeah, everything which is material, which was given before. The second is living capital. Everything which is natural, organic, living, including plants, animals. And the third level would be the cultural capital. This is all that we build in our traditions. The fourth is super important. This is the consciousness as a capital, your ability to feel, to be awakened. This is really essential. Yeah, and the fifth level would be our experience as a capital. And this experience help us to create balance and to go into transformation. The sixth level is the social level. This is how much are we able to step from this me to the we, from our own personal single level to the group, and how can we connect to the group. The seventh, the mental space, is connected to intellectual. The question here is, where do we direct our mental capacity to? Are we lost in fantasies and illusions, or can we see with our mind clearly what is? And the eighth, that's what is totally overemphasized in our nowadays life, that's the financial capital. And yeah, money is sexy, it's seducing, it's about power, of so much attention. And of course, the last would be the spiritual capital. Yeah? Our capacity to be subtle, to go beyond the things, to have a deep understanding through very much refinement. And yeah, then we have the totality of whole capitals. Of course, too quick now. Okay. But now let's go deeper. What does this mean about an understanding of economy and business? So with this, we can change our mind and perspective about there is only a game of win and lose. Yeah? And we can change how we look at life. That means also we can change our attitudes and ways of acting, but we have to connect them to the flow of life. We have to see it in the context of the flow of life, which is represented by this emphasized square about the 2, 5, and 8, which is in the middle. But of course, we have to start it earlier. And now I will, when I mention something, like here in the fourth quadrant, the next I will also mention what is appearing then in a nice cadence. So what often happens, there's the origin, there are the resources, but we go into isolation. Yeah, we that everything given before, and then we come to these kind of conclusions like America first or Brexit, Britain, we have to go for ourselves, Catalonia, we have to go for ourselves. Very recent things. And but instead of peace on the number 9, we will really experience more mystery and tyranny. So when we will be a gap and scarcity will dominate, it's more linear thinking, and we say time is money, and an infinite hunger will be there to fill this gap, but this will never be satisfied. And this perception of scarcity will be the point, and of our activity, we will act and we become busy. And that's what business is. Business means we become busy. And business, and the 7 wants to make profit. But if it's done only with ego, it will be a total illusion. And with this illusion, we will always stay or in number 6 in the fear. So without this level of consciousness of the number 4, we would always get lost in this duality. What I said before, the soul goes through time and space. So we get lost completely in this duality. And we want to make more profit because we want to create a security which is not there, seemingly, because we forget this and to that everything is given. We can let this in a different way, of course. That's what this is about. So let's go back to the beginning. We could say, okay, there is the origin, there are the resources, and everything is given. That would give us much more peace. See above in the 9. Stay and to keep this longing to belong, to keep in connection with this first stage of our life. And that would allow us to manifest and access the higher levels, which are in the number 8, the infinity, abundance, recycling. But we have to remember we are equal. We are all equal in that. We are equal in this fear and the scaring of this scarcity. But when we see that we are equal in that, we can come to this level of the true understanding and elevated view. Check, okay, what are actually our values that bring us to another way of acting. Instead, with this level of consciousness, we would have a chance to live with an attitude of gratitude. We could give and receive, and we can commit. We can go into trust because we can choose, as we said before in this level. We can choose: do we want to live with fear and with an idea of scarcity, or do we want to live consciously and open up to a bigger thing which is beyond our senior? Well, there will be faith And this is this stage opening up the community from me to we. So money, you can say, is like water. And the point is, smells, it begins to smell. And the aim to creating profit is to pass it on. So the water cannot get stuck, it will not smell. So everything is meant to circulate. This is this awakening state. Nothing is really ours, and I have to understand what I have, another one can't have. We are in a limited, and we are all together. One is excluded, nothing is, and this gives us another understanding of abundance. So abundance is not about much money I have on my account. Abundance describes the capacity of balancing this giving and receiving in my life. So when you trust nature, when you trust nature, it has the gap that appears there down there in the number 2. And when you trust that, because nature will do its job, then there is always enough. It's life supporting, it's vital, it's regenerative. So what about money then? Is that we have put it here already. Money is in credit, and money only works because we trust that we get something for the same value of what is written on this coin or bank account or share or banknote. But there is no guarantee that the value written on this money will remain the same over time. There is no time is float, and that is of course counterproductive to the intention. More stability. We're blind because we don't trust, and therefore we keep running after money. And banks, they know exactly how it works, and they create more and more complex constructions to hide this truth and to keep us in the illusion of security and keep us running. But to make it clear, there is no credit, there is no good and bad in it. They are just part of the game of the life. The whole is just that you show with your behavior that you can pay off your debt. So this is about the trust. No? You have to show that you are trustable to get a credit. And you cannot ignore it, but you can trust a person. So when you have money, to escape this rat race of having more and more money, you just have to understand that whatever is given to you to pass it on, and the gap will be filled. That's a natural cycle. And you can show this attitude of gratitude to what is primarily given to you, and you can everyone, and you could even say you become godlike, because if you want to say God is, and this is your potential, what you could do. I want to go to the number 5 again, because the number 5 and the 10. Everything in life is in a circularity. And it's given to us, and it's our responsibility how we deal with it. It's a question of time. We can create waste even more, and waste that is for a long time not accessible as a new resource because it's not pure. We mix material, we can't separate them anymore, or it takes many, many years, decades, thousands, hundreds of years, that nature will go through a process to make it accessible for us. But we should think in life scales, yeah, life scales of ourselves, of our human beings, of our generations before and after us. So this is about this balance and health. Yeah, there are dynamic systems, and different sciences talk about them. And these systems try to regulate their balance through an internal process, which is called homeostasis. And these systems tend to flow, and they are kind of open dynamic systems. And in some parts, you can explain it very clearly. The blood pressure, your brain, sleep, activity, relaxation, this balance, blood sugar. This is all this type of homeostasis. That to keep this system in balance. We could even go a bit further and say, instead of homeostasis, because homeo is about equal and stasis means stand still, it's more a homeodynamic in the sense, because it's dynamic, it's constantly balancing and rebalancing. And again, the totality, this is to close this, the totality level is self-sustaining. So the ultimate thing which is self-sustaining is the universe, the totality. And it's an autarkic system, but other systems like an ecosystem we call also total and self-sustaining. And we said that deathlessness means to become part of this totality, to become part of this oneness. But therefore we have to constantly be aware of this giving and receiving, about this growing and shrinking, about the inflow and the outflow of everything in ourself and in our environment. And yeah, of course, your body has to die, but you can make yourself deathless by becoming consciously a part of this whole. And that would require that you also serve all. All right. This was really a lot and intense, I guess. But this is how far I want to go now. In a live session, we could have now question and answers. Unfortunately, this is not possible here right now, but I thank you very much for whoever is going to watch the video. I have two websites, both under construction. One is Sascha.Jenke at web.de. You can access me for any questions, comments, feedback. I would be grateful for that. And I want to remind that this comes from Karam Kriya, my teacher, Shift Charan-Singh, and the quote that I used before: study life through numbers, study numbers through life. And thank you all very much for your attention. Thank you, Joe. I think you can take over.
Thank you so much, Sascha. This is really fascinating information that you just presented us. And I hope everybody could follow this along. It's quite complicated. I think it would be great to follow up with some of the websites that you put up here and to look up Karam Kriya's work. I'm sure people will have questions. I don't know exactly what they are at this point. But can they reach you for questions, Sascha?
Yes, of course. That's the email address, Sascha.Jenke at web.de. Please contact me there. There is also, it may talked shortly with me about that, there might be that we try to create a kind of online training for that, but we have to discuss this, if this is really possible and how it will be possible.
Oh, that's great. So I invite everybody to keep their eyes on our website and our publications and our newsletter. Please sign up for our newsletter. It comes out 4 times a year, and that's where we'll be announcing anything that Sascha develops further training in numbers and economy. So watch that space.
Maybe I can add, because this is a holistic approach in itself, so it can be applied to not only economy, it could be applied to any kind of topic. And this is maybe what we could develop, but we have to be patient a bit.
Yeah, and there'll be quite a bit of trying to understand all the connections. I mean, there are 9 or 10 areas that you touched on here, following the numbers. This is, of course, based on a 10-number system, but there are other number systems, right? As I understand, there are maybe based on 12 or 15 or something like that. And do you know anything about those number systems?
Well, yes, there are. My teacher, Shiv Charan Singh, he studied all his life numbers. He studied, and he came to a conclusion about this system. And this is also related to Kundalini Yoga, which he's teaching. There we work with 10 bodies, and it really falls together. It's about bringing yourself into balance with 10 bodies, and it's just an approach about how how you can consciously live. What I try to do with this is to expand this to how do you balance not even yourself but also your environment, because they both go together. And other numerologies, they have different systems, but what we do in this, because we have only 9 numbers, there are not more, and you have the 0, and then you start with the 10, which is the kind of expanded number 1. And this can happen because whatever number we have, like the number 13, we would say number 13 is a 1 plus 3, which is a 4, but a 4 which is informed by 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we always get the sum of the parts of a number, and that will lead us to always back to the 9 basic numbers.
Very interesting. Can you say again what you said about the number 0? Because that's a very interesting aspect that doesn't appear in this schematic here. But what does the number 0 represent in this?
Well, the number 0, actually, indeed, there is not so much to tell about, because 0 is nothing. So what can we talk about? Nothing. Mm-hmm. It's really nothing. But the quality of the 0, when you have the number 10, mm-hmm. For as I said, the 1 and 0 is the 10. It's all, it's the totality. That's what it represents. But it's all or nothing. Mm-hmm. And it kind of emphasizes the quality of the 1, because we had the 1 also as the first basic microecology, and the 10 is the macroecology.
Wow, very, very interesting. Well, let me, I'm gonna get our video back up, because we had run already a little over the time we had allotted for this webinar, but the subject is so interesting, and I know that 30 minutes is absolutely not enough to tell everything that that you could tell about numbers and numerology in general. But I'd like to remind people that you can come to our website. You can download some of our publications. There are other topics and other subject areas that are just as fascinating as what Sascha just presented that you will find in our curriculum. And I also like to invite you all to check the online courses perhaps you'd be interested in taking one of our courses online or even face-to-face, because the same courses are offered throughout the world in different centers, face-to-face, called education, Ecovillage Design Education, the EDE. And you'll see those listed in our website as well. Moving along here, I want to move to the next slide, which will give me, again, a reminder that you can also become a Gaia Education Certified Trainer by following the learning journey that Gaia Education has prepared. And there's more information on this online. You can go to Training of Trainers and learn about Gaia Education's certified trainers. The other thing is, the other ways you can follow us is through social media. And, oh, sorry, that's not the one I wanted. I think it's this one. Yeah. We have a lot of activity going on in Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Medium, and so on. So please follow us, connect to those areas. You have the addresses right there, and you can connect with a big network. We have over 5,000 people that have already gone through our trainings, and it would be great to join that learning community with them. The other thing I wanted to point out is that our next webinar will be led by Pupak Hagigi, who is a resident of Findhorn Ecovillage in Scotland. And Pupak is originally from Iran. She will be talking about rewilding the Fertile Crescent. This should be also a very interesting topic linked to our regenerative design curriculum. Finally, please remember to follow us, GaiaEducation.org, all the social media that I mentioned before. And thank you very much, Sascha. This is really, really interesting and enlightening, and I'll have to spend some time watching the video over again to understand fully everything that you presented today.
I think so, yeah. But this is the opportunity, because you can watch the video and repeat. I know it was very fast, but to combine both, I had to give some basics and I had to go into the topic. So I hope it will be fruitful for many watchers.
Totally fascinating. I wonder, Sascha, if you can put a reference in the chat. Is there a book or some other reference besides the websites that you gave us before?
I can. There is one basic book which is called "Let You Guide You by the Numbers," and it's available in Spanish, English, and German.
Let you guide you
by the numbers.
By the numbers. Okay, I put the title in the chat box.
No, sorry. Let the numbers guide you. Okay. Let the numbers guide you. Less complicated. Let the numbers guide you.
That makes more sense. Okay, I put those titles in the chat box. If anybody would like to learn more, follow that up. And
if you Google or search for Karam Kriya on the web, you find different teachers. You find different places where this is taught as a practice. Yeah.
Great. So thank you again. And everybody, please look out for our next webinar with Pupak coming up in November 14th. She'll be doing her webinar, but we'll announce it on our web pages. So make sure to visit us, sign up for our newsletters, and see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sascha, again.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much.